Congressman Mo Brooks is part of the Freedom Caucus, which holds those key 40 votes in the House Speaker's race. He joins us now. Congressman, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate being here.
All right, so your caucus has said they will endorse Congressman Dan Webster. We know him well. He's been on this program many times before, but there are other names that have since bubbled up. Would you change your vote if you thought somebody more plausible would come forward? And how do you feel about Paul Ryan? Is he conservative enough for you?
Well, let me first back up to your initial comment about where the House Freedom Caucus was or has been. While it's true that the House Freedom Caucus endorsed Daniel Webster, former Speaker of the House of the Florida House of Representatives, we had House Freedom Caucus members, some of whom were already committed to Kevin McCarthy, some of whom were committed to vote for Jason Chaffetz out of Utah, and some who were committed to voting for Daniel Webster out of Florida. So we were not operating as a block, which seems to be what the media is projecting, but that's not in fact in accord with what has transpired. Now on to Paul Ryan. I have some reservations about Paul, in particular with respect to Amnesty for illegal aliens. He's been a staunch proponent of this amnesty program that was in the Gang of Eight Senate bill that over a 10-year period of time would either have legalized or brought into America anywhere from 44 million to 57 million foreigners. If our economy was booming, that'd be one situation, but our economy is rather anemic, and I'm not going to support economic policies, immigration policies that will deprive Americans of jobs or suppress their wages. So Paul will have to change his position a little bit, but Paul is a charismatic individual. He knows how to raise the money. He knows how to communicate. So he's got some real strengths too, but the immigration stances that he's taken in the past, he would have to assure people like myself that those are not going to be forced through the House of Representatives if he becomes Speaker of the House.
All right, so where do we go from here? We're still going to wait and see if possibly over the weekend he decides to get in. We do have a couple of others who've already thrown in their hats into the ring. Are there additional candidates that you would like to see? Jim Jordan, obviously, leading the Freedom Caucus, is somebody whose name keeps surfacing. There are others out there. It's interesting to me that Jason Chaffetz had said, you know, he'd vote for Paul Ryan. It seems like we're kind of all over the place now. What's the roadmap moving forward?
Well, there are dozens of people who are in the House of Representatives who happen to be Republicans that would make very good speakers of the House. For instance, Tom Price out of Georgia, Marsha Blackburn out of Tennessee, Jeb Hensarling out of Texas, Steve Scalise, who is now the majority whip, out of Louisiana, Rob Bishop out of Utah is looking at it. You mentioned Jim Jordan. And the people who have already declared, Jason Chaffetz out of Utah and Daniel Webster out of Florida. So we have a lot of talent. And it'll be interesting to see who actually jumps into the ring and offers himself to serve in what is a very difficult position and often a short-term position. If you look over the last couple of decades, how many speakers have lasted as much as 4 or 5 years? Not very many.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't seem real excited about doing the job. Those who've stepped up have sort of said, you know, somebody's got to do it. I'm willing to tackle this. One of the main issues is a lot of folks talking about the return to regular order, the fact that the House is operating from continuing resolutions to fund the government. That sets up problems like the issue with funding Planned Parenthood for those who object to that. How important is it to you to find a candidate that you think can actually return the House to regular order?
Well, if we're going to operate as a republic is supposed to operate, then we need to have regular order. And what is the difference between regular order and what we have had over the last 8 to 10 years? Well, it's a matter of whether you're going to have 5 or 10 people at the very top, the Speaker and the House leadership, Democrat side or Republican side, that orders their party to vote a certain way, and if they don't, there's fear of retaliation, such as losing of committee assignments or losing of chairmanships or losing of other things that other members of that party are able to get. And so what Daniel Webster in particular is focusing on is bottoms up, where all 435 congressmen are empowered to bring their ideas to committees, to the House floor, and if they can cobble together a majority of the votes, then their ideas can become law and influence America with respect to the very significant challenges that we face, whether it be with defense spending, deficits and debt, free enterprise versus socialism, moral issues, or what have you.
All right, Congressman Mo Brooks, we thank you, sir, for making time for us on this Sunday.
Thank you, Shannon.
All the best. Well, Turkey says it will appoint a panel to investigate suicide bombings that killed almost 100